They
Like
gotta be close.
their deal is that they strike out even more than the Brewers do.
I know the Royals just plain suck.
Right.
So I
So
mean, that's understandable.
yeah. So we're starting off the show today, discussing basically where the Brewers are at. Now we're going to talk about all the games, but we're going to do them probably a little quicker than we normally do.
Yeah.
Not just because we're trying to get through them and get it off our minds, but we also we want to discuss where the Brewers can go from where they are. So we're not just ignoring it, but we're gonna focus less on the outcomes of the games and more on what to do going forward. And one of the things that we like to advocate for super strongly is, instead of just blindly complaining, this team sucks, or the super generic one that I keep seeing that makes me laugh is this team has no competitive drive.
You're right. I see
Like,
that one
that's
too.
such a generic, stupid comment that there's really no way of quantifying that to make it make sense. And because of that, it doesn't make sense. So I have actual quantifiable numbers on what the Brewers are doing well, what they can improve on, and what they just really need to do to get it done. So we're going to start with our power pair and underrated performer, like we always do.
Yep.
So Jake, I'll let you go first, and then I will give mine.
Okay, so for my power hitter, my power pair hitter, I went with Christian Yelich. He was 8 for 25 in the last 7 days. That doesn't include today. 5 runs, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 walks. These are his slashes. Average 320, on base percentage 393, slugging percentage 640, and an OPS of 1,033. So I mean, he was doing his job.
Yeah,
And
great.
Even when the team wasn't losing, people weren't allowed to bitch about him like they normally do. So
that didn't stop anybody.
Yeah. Well, maybe they should check the tape. Yeah. My power pair pitcher, I picked Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes was very good in 2 starts, 2 games, 14 innings pitched, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 17 strikeouts. That's a 1.93 ERA for his last 2 starts. So he was doing some Cy Burns stuff, definitely in that Baltimore game. He was still very good last night, I thought, against Minnesota. And then my underrated performer, I went with Victor Carantini. He appeared in 4 games, 6 for 10. That's a 600 average for people at home. 3 runs, only 1 strikeout this week in 10 at-bats, 1 walk, and 2 RBIs. He also had a 615 on-base percentage, 600 slugging percentage, and a 1,215 OPS. So he was also very good this week, and you might not have noticed that because you were too busy crying.
Yeah. We'll get to the crying.
Yeah, we'll get to the crying.
So for me, Yelich was the logical choice for power position players. There were a couple guys that played some good defense, but just like the hitting didn't quite balance out, so I decided to go with Yelich. What I wanted to add into what you already said was that over the last 9 days, Christian Yelich has raised his batting average by 20 points.
Oh.
He's gone from 249 to 269.
Nice.
Nice. So that, in addition, he's got 4 extra base hits in the last 3 games, 2 doubles, 2 homers. And you brought up Caratini only having 1 strikeout. Christian Yelich only has 6 strikeouts in his last 27 plate appearances.
That's pretty good.
That's much better than where he's been at.
Yeah.
That's something like, that's a little bit less than, so it's about 22.5%, I want to say, right around there. That's not bad. I mean, if you're under 25%, I think that's a good place to be at.
Yeah.
Once you get over 30 is where it gets a little concerning. So for him to be under 25, I will take that. For my power pitcher, I actually went with Julio Teheran. I think he could have been an underrated performer, but I think his performance coming at a time where the Brewers' depth is just so tested, and for the Brewers to grab a guy, like you said last week, who had a 5.62 ERA in San Diego's AAA system, to come here, and I get that this is against a bad team, But to pitch 7 innings, give up 6 hits and a walk, but to throw 6 strikeouts and only give up 1 earned run, that to me was a great outing by Julio Teheran, and just a little bit of baseball injustice that he wasn't able to get a win that day.
Yeah, I actually have a stat for Teheran. Do you want me to give it right now?
I got a couple when we get to the games. I got some for him too.
Okay, I'll hold on to it.
Yeah. Okay. With my underrated performer. Underrated performer is Mr. Underrated himself. The guy that really made us start doing underrated performers for all of our segments and all of our teams. It's Hobie Milner. He's the guy that started the underrated performer, like we said before the season when we did our Brewers primer. If we did an underrated performer award preseason, it would be the Hobie Milner award. And Hobie Milner in the last week made 4 appearances, 4 1/3 innings, only gave up 1 hit, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, no runs.
That a boy.
So great work by Hobie Milner over the last week. And because the Brewers have been losing games, he doesn't get a lot of credit for pitching well. Yeah. And I'm going to give him that credit by making him my underrated performer. So, look at that. We got a level-headed fan. I got to say, dude, as much negativity as there is on social media, I fucking love that the people that follow us have level-headed thoughts like this. So thank you, Brett, for this comment. Brett said this happens to all teams every year. Ride it out. And I have something I want to throw out when we get to the special segment that Jake and I have put in for today's show. Yeah. That'll be a little bit of a palate cleanser, a little bit of catharsis to make Jake and I feel better about some stuff. But yeah. All right, let's jump into these games. Let's talk Brewers Orioles and wrap that series up.
Excuse me. So we start with a great game, right? We start with a 10-2 game. Corbin Burnes looks like Cy Burns, 8 innings pitched, only 2 hits, no walks, no earned runs, and 9 strikeouts. He was absolutely going nuts. I'm going to pat myself on the back because I called that. RBIs. Singleton got his first RBI as a Brewer, a 2-out RBI at that. Carantini got an RBI. Adames, Anderson, Monasterio, and Weimer with 5 RBIs, 3 of those coming with 2 outs. He also had the 2 homers, so that was the Joey Weimer game. Adames with a home run. So the offense was cooking. Corbin Burnes was cooking. It felt like things were trending in the right direction after we just had a 5-2 week. And obviously, with hindsight, that's not what happened. But this was just a fun game to watch. I'll say that I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Yeah. I want to give Victor Caratini. I kind of wanted to just give him a hug because he was getting hit by everything. He got hit by a foul ball, bounced up and hit him in the leg. He got hit by a pitch. I mean, just kind of a rough go for Victor Caratini. Joey Weimer, bottom of the 3rd inning. First pitch, he hit a home run. It was 101 miles an hour off the bat. So it feels like every time he hits the ball, it's just a rocket. Because he had a double later on. It was in the bottom of the 6th inning. That was 100 miles an hour off the bat.
He's big and strong.
And, yeah, he hits the ball hard. So Joey Weimer then hit another home run that was the 7th inning. So I mentioned his exit velocities. Going into this game, I should say, including this game, 11 batted balls in the last 8 games over 100 miles an hour exit velocity for Joey Weimer.
Pretty good.
So Joey Weimer is just scorching the ball, and he was rewarded in the A's series, which we'll get to that. But top of the 9th inning, got a little stressed. Souza, no outs, 4 base runners. Shutout was off, but double play after that. And then got a grounder to end it. So the Brewers, still came out with the win. Joey Weimer this game, 4 for 4, 2 home runs, a double and a single. That was 11 bases. That was a rookie franchise record by Joey Weimer.
Yep.
9 of the 10 batters that came up to the plate in this game had a hit. And just really good all-around game. Like Jake said, for a game to watch. It was just a really good all around game. Now the only complaint I saw about this one was people saying that they should have let Burns go out for the 9th. The Brewers half of the 8th inning was a little bit longer. So like I understand that Burns was at 96 pitches. That's pushing it a little bit, especially since his last start I think was when he threw 115. I want to say,
Yeah,
it was somewhere around there. So you don't want to burn Burns out
right
in the middle of June. Like it's not the time.
Right.
Middle of September, totally different story.
Even middle of August if you're pushing for playoffs.
Sure. Which I'm gonna save that thought for later.
Okay.
Yeah. So third game of the Orioles series, Colin Ray off to a pretty decent start. Christian Yelich in the bottom of the first inning was down 0-2, worked his way all the way back to a walk. So good job by him. Willie Adames had a single. Rowdy Tellez followed with an RBI ground out. Then William Contreras got down 0-2. He worked back to 3-2, hit an opposite field single. Owen Miller hit an opposite field single. John Singleton hit an opposite field single, and the Brewers are up 3-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Feeling good, like Jake said. It feels like we're about to get momentum going, and it just, I don't know. It's not really anybody's. I don't know. I don't want to like throw blame just at, just blindly, and I don't want to also like single guys out because I don't feel like it's any single person that doomed the Brewers or anything like that. We'll get to some of these other games where people are saying things and it's like people just gotta relax.
Yeah.
This game it was Piamps. He got 2 quick outs, gave up a solo home run, and then came back and got a strikeout. Joey Wiemer extended his hitting streak to 9 in this game. Peter Strzelecki was doing a good job in this game. I think he was doing well changing levels and speeds, and then gave up an infield single that got hurt by the throwing error by Luis Urias, and then a double followed up that made it 3-2. He got another strikeout, and then he gave up the home run. That's the second home run he's given up this entire season.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. Top of the 9th inning, Baltimore got 2 more. Final ended up being 6-3. I don't know. What stood out to you from this finale?
So you brought up the error, and I understand, and I'm not going to get on Luis Urias because I just told you yesterday that even though his bat hasn't been as good as people expected right away, but you can't expect him to just come out and hit 600 or whatever, right? Coming off the 60-day DL.
Right.
But his defense has been pretty good. But that one, man, he made a bad decision. He's got to eat that. He's got to understand that. That may just be a factor of rust, but I feel like that single play, and I'm not putting all the blame on Urias because pitches could have been made.
Right.
Strzelecki on the homer, he left a hanger up there. Not gonna lie to you, it was hanging. And a good MLB hitter, they're gonna crush that. That's just plain and simple.
Especially being on a good team too.
Plus, this is a good Orioles team that we took 2 out of 3 from. So
they haven't lost since they beat us in Game 3.
Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, so I mean, other than that error and one hanging pitch, it is what it is, man. That's all I got from that. I mean, Yelly and Contreras both got doubles in this game. That kind of stood out to me. Yelly's been getting a lot of extra base hits.
He's kind of raking a little bit right now.
Yeah,
I brought up the batting average being up 20 points in the last 9 days. To go up 20 points in 9 days is impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
And considering it's not April.
All right.
I do appreciate you bringing up the context of what having, potentially a runner on first or a runner on second with 1 out and having seen the error committed, what that does to, how you pitch to a guy.
Mm-hmm.
When you're pitching with a guy on first base and 1 out, 1 pitch could end your inning.
Yeah.
Where you're pitching with a guy on second and you're just thinking like, don't give up anything to the outfield. Don't give anything to the outfield. Nothing to the outfield.
Yeah. A bloop could score a run.
Exactly. So and taking 2 of 3 from the Orioles, that's a great place to be in. The Orioles are a good baseball team now.
Yeah, they are. They're not the Orioles of old.
Yeah. So, and good for them. It's as long as it doesn't come at the expense of the Brewers. I have no problem with the Orioles having a good season and leaving the Yankees and the Red Sox in shambles. I have no problem with that at all.
Agreed.
I don't mind the Blue Jays either, but
yeah.
Especially if they keep trading us players that help us.
Agreed.
All right, let's go to this A's series. I have a feeling I don't think that this, and I get that there's, I don't want to say it wasn't bad, but I don't think it's as bad as people are acting like it is.
Right.
I don't think that this Oakland A's team is the worst team in baseball history.
I don't think that either.
They might not even be the worst team in baseball this year, the way that they're playing now.
Yeah.
They're going to pass up Kansas City pretty quickly, and they're dangerously close to passing the St. Louis Cardinals.
That's true.
The Oakland A's are almost better than the Cardinals right now. They are dangerously close to having a better record than the St. Louis Cardinals.
That is true.
If I had $1 for every, this couldn't be worse, this team is pathetic, we lost to the worst team in baseball, and by the transient property, we are the worst team in baseball. Look at the Cardinals. They were expected to run away with the weak NL Central. They're in 5th place and looking up with no ladder to climb out of the hole they are in.
Yeah, they are the worst team in the National League by a large margin. Well, by a game, I guess. But yeah, yikes.
So we'll get to a little bit more of that context, but I don't think that this series was as bad as people made it out to be, especially when you consider the fact that the A's, before coming to Milwaukee, had taken 2 out of 3 from the Braves and 2 out of the last 3 from the Pirates, and now that they took the 2 or 3 from the Brewers or the Pirates, swept the Brewers, and are now on to the Rays, the best team in baseball. They play the Rays today with a chance to sweep them.
That's nuts.
They are on a 7-game winning streak. About to sweep the best team in baseball.
That is wild.
The NL Central leading Pirates and the AL or the NL East leading Atlanta Braves.
The NL leading Braves.
NL leading Braves, exactly.
And a team that won a ring recently.
I didn't even have to specify their division.
Yeah. The league.
Yeah. So, A's game 1, Joey Wiemer moved up to 5th in the batting order.
Yeah.
So, good for him. Adrian Hauser kind of just got hurt by traffic. You play in traffic, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
So, spotted the A's, a 3-0 lead. The A's grabbed another run in the second. Bottom of the second, Joey Wiemer drew a walk. And then, the Brewers got a double, and they were down 4-1 still. Andrew Monasterio grounded out. Luis Urias hit a double, made the game 4-2. That was his first hit since getting back. He got held at third on Owen Miller's single. Now, I want to bring this up because the Brewers then had runners at the corners in this situation. This is why I wanted to bring it up at this point. When we're talking later about how the Brewers can improve, I think being a little more aggressive on the bases is something they can do. I think it was something they did a lot early in the season, and I really think the Garrett Mitchell injury impacts this a lot, is the aggressiveness on the base paths, and also Bryce Terang, who probably going to end up being back sooner than later.
Yeah.
If Andrew Monasterio doesn't keep his bat going, because I think that was the reason Terang got sent down in the first place, is just because Toro and Monasterio were in good places. But I think Terang will be back sooner than later either way. But that aggressiveness on the base paths, and when we get to today's game, I saw a little bit of that today from Christian Yelich. I think aggressiveness on the base paths is an opportunity for the Brewers to potentially try to jumpstart their offense a little bit. So I wanted to bring that up. Hauser taking 2 batters out, or taken out after 2 batters in the 5th inning. He was getting contact. It was just in the air and not on the ground like he's accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an off night for Adrian Hauser. I'm not worried about him going forward. It's just one off night. And if you want to say, he had an off day against Toronto too, I still think he did his job in that game. He was just hurt by basically lucky contact, I would say.
Yeah.
A's got another run in the 5th. I will say Trevor McGill Tyler is his brother, who is also in professional baseball.
Yep.
He dealt with tons of traffic. Only one inherited runner scored. Did good work considering the alternative. Holby Milner, scoreless 6th. Holby Milner, scoreless 7th. Bryce Wilson, 1-2-3 8th. Tyson Miller, 1-2-3 9th. The only thing with the bottom of the 9th inning is Joey Weimer, the pitch that he struck out on. It's too close to take.
Yeah.
And I'll come back to that a little bit later, but that ended his hitting streak at 9. That's just one of those things where when you got 2 strikes on you, you got to defend a little bit, even if it means just hitting a pitch foul and just waiting for that mistake. What stood out to you from the opening game against the A's?
I guess the one thing that really stood out to me was the amount of walks, because I think the Brewers have been really, like the pitching staff, the bullpen, the starters have been really good about it for a long while here. But 6 hits from Hauser, nobody else allowed a hit, so that's fantastic work by the bullpen. But then the 7 walks, so you're getting 13 base runners at that point.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, especially in a game where you only scored 2 runs. Urias and Perkins both had doubles. They both had RBIs. The first for both for Urias, like you said. Perkins, his first double of the year and his 6th RBI of the year. So, that's really all that stood out to me was just the amount of walks, because it was like they hurt themselves. You know what I mean? I feel like they beat themselves in this game.
Yeah. All right. What about the second game? I feel like there's a lot of good things with this one, just except for the outcome.
Yeah, man. This one felt like a tilter. Like I said, the first game, right? The second game of the series against the Orioles, it felt like we were about to go on a run, right? And this one felt like, after the home run from Contreras, which came out with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Not to get too far ahead of myself here, but Julio Teheran was terrific again. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned run, 6 Ks. I mean, what more can we ask from this guy, right?
Dude, wait till I give you all of his stats as a Brewer.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop one before you go, but
man,
Paguero was good, only 1 walk. Everybody had a walk. Williams had a walk. Payams had a walk. No earned runs for the other guys. So we really only 1 earned run for the entire pitching staff. Obviously, we lost this one, but the thing about the Contreras home run is that was a sick highlight. I'm not gonna lie to you. He comes in the game, first ever career pinch hit home run with 2 outs in the 8th inning.
And it's the longest homer of the year for the Brewers.
Come on, man, that was lit.
440 feet. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, he's absolutely smashed that. I had a cool coworker that gave me the flag because he was at the game. It was my girlfriend's birthday, so I was not going anywhere without her, and she was at work that day. So, so that's just what I think about that. Teheran, here's my little quick stat. I'm sure you have them. Since May 25th, day of his signing, no pitcher in MLB has tossed more innings with a better ERA than Julio Teheran. 24 and a third innings pitched, a 1.48 ERA. The Brewers are 1-3 in his starts.
I have a little bit more to add to that. So, so I'm gonna add this out.
We don't.
Oh yes, dude! What did I say when Brett made his comment? I'm like, I love the people that follow us.
We don't count
because
anybody out.
They're level-headed. I'm super proud of creating a fan base that says stuff like this.
Yeah, man. We don't count anybody out. It's June.
It's June.
It's literally June.
So Blake said, "Don't count the Brewers out yet. They can still get hot." The Oakland A's are on a 7-game winning streak. If they can do it, the Brewers can do it.
Listen, man. How many times do I talk about the dog days of summer? The finals just ended, right?
Yep.
I just saw a post about so many days for this. Like
and
NFL,
the Cup
all this
just
stuff,
ended.
right? We literally are just entering the dog days of summer.
Yep.
So they're on a little losing streak. So what?
There's 3.5 months of the season left. There's almost 100 games to play yet.
I am so ready for this rant. But let's get through this. But I am
I know we got a couple more games to get through.
I'm so ready for this.
So you mentioned Teheran's stats as a Brewer. You mentioned his ERA.
Yep.
He has a .95 WHIP as a Brewer.
Ooh.
That's walks and hits per inning pitched. .95, less than 1.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
He's only pitched 3 walks as a Brewer.
Oh my God.
He has 16 strikeouts and only 3 walks. He's given up 3 walks in 24 and a third innings.
Jesus.
That is insane.
Jesus.
I sincerely hope when everybody's healthy, which Wade Miley is doing rehab and Eric Lauer was assigned to Nashville, which he might stay there for a little bit until he gets going a little bit. But I sincerely hope they keep Julio Teheran until he stops pitching like an absolute stud.
I don't think there's any way they can not keep him.
Unless
right?
somebody blows you away with a trade offer for him, I guess. I mean, Lance McCullers just got hurt for the Astros. He's done for the year, but so last thing, you mentioned that they're 1-3 in Julio Teheran starts. This is the run support for Julio Teheran. 4 games. 0-4-0-0. That's some baseball injustice right there.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I know. Baseball's a numbers game, but sometimes the numbers hurt.
Pain.
That's so gutty. But Julio Teheran is doing a fantastic job. He really, really is.
Man, him and Corbin Burns are just getting disrespected.
I know. And it's 2021 Brandon Woodruff season out here. Just can't get any run support.
Man, and he's going to be coming back at some point too. So for everybody to count the Brewers
break. They're planning on bringing him back after the All-Star break. It was going to be the end of June, so they're like, well, why don't we just wait one more week and just hold him through the All-Star break?
Yeah.
So we essentially get to acquire an All-Star after the All-Star break.
Shit, we might get 2 if we keep our head above water, man.
Yeah. Okay. So 1-2-3 first inning by Teheran. The Brewers stranded a pair of 2-out singles. Okay. The top of the second inning. This is the Joey Wiemer inning. He had 2 outfield assists. The first one was a 1-hopper, like right to the bag at second base to get a runner trying to take an extra base. That's a great job by Joey Wiemer making that throw. Second one was a throw from the wall to Willy Adames on the fly. Did not touch the ground. From the warning track to basically 2 steps outside the infield. Followed by an absolute rope by Willy Adames.
Yeah.
The throw from Willie to home, to me, was more impressive than the throw from Wiemer to Willie.
I agree. That was a freaking laser.
Oh, my God. It was just dead accurate, too.
Mm-hmm.
But Joey Wiemer, 2 outfield assists in the same inning. He's the first Brewer in franchise history to have 2 outfield assists in the same inning.
Wow. What a pull. What a pull.
As a rookie.
Wow.
Awesome. So top of the 5th inning, the A's got a run on 2 walks and a fielder's choice. That was the only thing they could get on Julio Teheran. Bottom of the 7th, Wiemer got a walk. Victor Caratini had a single. Both of them stranded on by a strikeout by Andrew Monasterio. It was a well outside pitch. I'll say that. Probably solid 3-4 inches outside. That's kind of where it felt like this game was like, oh, fucking kidding me? Like, that's what it felt like. And then get the big hit by William Contreras, the 440-foot home run, the longest by a Brewer this year, 109 miles an hour off the bat.
Oh, yeah, that was a no-doubter for sure, dude.
Devin Williams pitched a scoreless 9th. The top of the 10th might be the most frustrating part of this whole game because the dude was just like, he just put the bat.
Yeah.
He just put the bat out there.
Yep.
He literally didn't even fully swing. He had one hand on the bat, just kind of like set the bat in the path of the ball, and it finds a way into the outfield.
Yep. It just squeaked through, man. I was like, God damn it.
And then it's followed by a double play. It's like, can we just catch a break?
Yeah.
And the Brewers went down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 10th. It's tough. Now, I have a couple things I want to say about this game yet. One, I'll start with the 10th inning. The fact that people are still complaining about bunting, you got to just let it go. The only time there should be bunting is in a tie game with 0 outs in the bottom of an inning. any other time you're playing to not lose, or in this situation, the Brewers are down 2-1. If you're wanting to bunt the runner over, you're playing to tie, not playing to win.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to play to tie. I want to play to win. Because you're gonna win or lose anyways. You're not gonna tie. All you're doing is delaying your fate for another inning. So let's find out what's going to happen now. Let's play to win. Last thing with this game, this was Julio Teheran's first appearance going 7 innings since August 21st, 2019.
Another good pull.
That's what I'm here for, man. All right, let's get to the finale of this one. Joey Wiemer batting second.
Yeah.
Freddie Peralta, first strikeout on a 76-mile-an-hour curveball. That's just rude.
Yeah.
to throw a 76-mile-an-hour curveball for a strikeout. I will say it got annoying in the second inning. That's where I really got frustrated with this game. Christian Yelich hit a dinger to left center. This one was 104 mile an hour off the bat. And then the strike zone got super loose, but only against the Brewers. The low inside corner to right-handed batters against the Brewers was being consistently called a strike, but only against the Brewers. That frustrated me.
Yeah.
The top of the third inning, I liked seeing Luis Urias. So this was a 1-2-3 inning by Freddie Peralta. The last out was Luis Urias making a play on the run on a slow roller that was coming. So it was like right over the pitcher's mound, and Luis Urias is charging like basically directly at it. But you have to scoop, and as you're bent over scooping the ball to transfer and throw, that's a really difficult play to make, actually. Because you're basically throwing, your body's basically at the angle of being horizontal, and then trying to make a sidearm throw like that. That's a tough play to make. So I wanted to give Luis Urias credit for that. The fourth inning was really it. Top of the fourth inning goes single, hit by pitch, home run. Game was 4-2 before there was an out recorded.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really what it came down to for me. Both teams scored 3 runs in the ninth inning. I don't know. It really kind of felt like the game was over at that point for the most part. I mean, there was traffic, but I don't know. What else stood out to you from the finale against the A's?
It seemed like Peralta was getting hurt on his fastball, and he talked about that after the game. Yelly with a home run, so that was nice to see. Carantini, Perkins, Miller, and Toro with 2 RBIs, so that was nice to see. Owen Miller got his 11th double of the year. Really, Strzelecki was really the only one that struggled out of the bullpen. He had a tough week this week, man, but I still have confidence in him. I still have confidence in that slider, so I'm hoping he can right the ship because he's a guy that we're going to need. He's a late inning guy. He's a high pressure pitcher for us. So we're going to need Strzelecki to get his mind right. Hopefully they can go on a little run here before the All-Star break. That would be really, really nice.
I want to pull up another guy's name just real quick while you're on the subject of late inning guys. Payamps has been fantastic all year. One guy we didn't actually mention in this series yet, Elvis Peguero.
Yeah.
Gave up 4 runs against the Astros in that 12-2 game. Since then, he has not given up a single run. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive appearances that Elvis Peguero has not given up a run. Total looks like about 13 innings that Elvis Peguero hasn't given up a run, and he's only given up 5 hits in that time.
All
so
right.
Elvis Peguero is a guy we should probably give a little more credit to, actually. So I just want to throw that out there while you're on the subject of late inning relievers.
Yeah, I'm really hoping Strzelecki can turn it around, like I said. So Yeah,
He's a
Pigueroa's
rookie
been
too.
good.
He's a rookie.
Yeah, and like I said, I trust him. I trust
Yep.
the Brewers pitching lab, so
For
he's
sure.
going to turn it around. That's, after this loss, this was the one where I was like, oh boy, I'm just going to avoid social media. I know it's just going to be nothing but negativity, and I'm not putting myself through that. But I still did because I'm a psychopath. So
Well, we're trying to change it. So I think we have to. It's not that we're gluttons for the negativity,
yeah,
but first and foremost, like we are a sports show, so like we're trying to be in tune with the fan base and what people are thinking and saying, but also we are trying to make better fan bases, I guess. I mean, we want the fan bases that we're part of to be more positive, and we want the people who are in our fan bases to be able to potentially apply some of the things that we talk about to their lives, actually.
the thing about
And
it is
see if
like,
we can positively affect people's lives as a sports show.
the thing about it is, and I'm not going to go into my rant early, but all the people that like bitch, I'm going to cuss.
It's gonna happen.
I'm not going to work around it today. I'm sorry. The people that do all the bitching are the ones that act like they're the best fans, when truthfully, they have a lot of looking in the mirror to do. That's all I'm going to say. Like,
if I had $1 for every time I've called somebody pessimistic and they're like, I'm not pessimistic, I'm just realistic.
there was, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, but one guy was like, just on this other dude, just down his throat. This other guy's trying to like talk reason with him. And I don't know any names, but I was just reading this thread. And I ended up clicking on the guy who was like kind of being a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
And I clicked on his profile. And the first thing that pops up is a picture of him and his tiny son. And I could not help myself but think that mindset is going to be horrible for that kid. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah, that's sad.
He's going to grow up and be a mini dickhead.
And then he'll be a full-grown dickhead someday.
And then we're going to have to deal with him later. But anyways.
Don't let your kids be dickheads.
I got more shit I'm going to say later, but.
We got a segment for it. Let's get these two Twins games out of the way. Let's just talk about it. Yesterday's game, Corbin Burns struck out the side in the first inning. Bottom of the second, Brian Anderson threw a runner going for 2 by a solid 3 steps.
Yeah, he gunned him down.
Which it actually became important because a double after that would have scored that run. Mm-hmm. So he did save a run there. Top of the third, Luis Urias drew a walk. Victor Caratini hit a single like he does. And then Christian Yelich hit a 2 RBI double, followed by a 2-out RBI single by Rowdy Tellez. The Brewers were up 3-0. Mm-hmm. Bottom of the third for the Twins, a leadoff walk. Brian Anderson went for a sliding catch, missed it. It's one of those really, really tough in-between ones where you either have to try to slide or dive, or you have to try to hold up and do, basically the slam on the brakes where you're like stuck on your toes thing, mm-hmm. and then kind of like tuck your arms in and like put your glove down and just hope it doesn't bounce past you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of those tough places to be in as an outfielder. But second and third with no outs, followed by an opposite field single, made it 3-1, and then an RBI ground out made it 3-2. Game got really quiet after that. And this is where I want to bring up Luis Urias and Willy Adames. Both played some really good defense in those middle innings. Mm-hmm. Top of the seventh, Christian Yelich hit a 2-run home run after another Victor Caratini single. We're just going to have to call him, Captain Single or something. Victor Single. I don't know. We'll think of something. Bottom of the seventh, Burns came back out, gave up a solo home run, made it 5-3. Hoby Milner came in, gave up a double, and then gets the next 2 outs. Pigueroa came in, got a strikeout on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, middle in on a right-handed batter.
Love it.
That was nasty.
Love
Elvis Pigueroa was one of the guys we got in the Hunter Renfroe trade. So that's, you're looking at, potentially a very good return out of that deal.
Yeah.
Bottom of the eighth, Payamps did allow 2 1-out runners. Got a piece of a liner that turned it into a fielder's choice. A run scores if he doesn't get a piece of that ball. So just good work by Payamps. And then you get the quote unquote hit by pitch, like nicked the button on the dude's jersey as a hit by pitch, and then he freezes Joey Gallo with a breaking ball to strand the bases loaded. It was great work by Payamps there.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the ninth inning, Victor Caratini gets a third single. Christian Yelich gets another single, and they're stranded. And then the bottom of the ninth, leadoff solo shot, a walk, single, and it's 5-5. And then Correa hit a walk-off 2-run home run without recording it out. So that was Devin Williams' first appearance giving up more than one home run. He had never done that before. His first blown save of the season. And I swear to God, if I see another person talking about trading Devin Williams, I'm going to lose my absolute shit. We're not trading Devin Williams. And if your response to that is, well, they traded Josh Hader, not the same situation.
We had the insurance to trade Josh Hader. His name is Devin Williams.
Devin Williams also isn't going to be making $15 million next year.
True.
So the fact that Devin Williams has been literally perfect all season on saves, gives up one blown save just because it's on a losing streak, people want to trade him. We got to put some stuff in perspective. I get losing a winnable game sucks. I get that part of it. But look at Devin Williams individually. He's been basically untouchable. Look, we haven't lost a game that he's entered in the same situation until this.
Yeah.
So miss me with that trade Devin Williams shit. It's not happening. We're not trading Devin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What stood out to you from yesterday's game against the Twins?
Burns was very good. The bullpen was very good other than Williams, but man, they're not perfect, man. They're gonna give shit up. And he gave up the solo shot right away, and I was like, oh boy, all right, let's lock in here, guy.
Yep.
And then like you said, the walk. And then he put another guy on base, and then I was like, I'm not saying I predicted it because I obviously didn't want it, but I just had a feeling with Correa, man, because he's a good player, and he was 0-for at that point. So I just had a feeling. I didn't think he was going to hit a homer, but I thought he was going to get a hit. Just it is what it is, man. I mean, Yelly back-to-back games with a home run, so that's pretty sick. 2 of his 4 RBIs were with 2 outs. Tellez was with 2 outs. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Okay, what about today's game?
I'm trying to save what I want to say without.
We are one segment away from getting two.
I'm so close to just like giving it up. Colin Ray, I'm not gonna dog Colin Ray. Because I didn't even know who the hell he was a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, I don't know who this guy is.
He pitched in Japan last year. That's why you didn't know who he was.
He had 3 walks today, gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. I mean, he also had 4 Ks. Milner was still good. Wilson was good, no earned runs, but 2 walks. Tyson Miller, I can't remember his name right now. He was all right. Yelly with another double, so he has 12. Anderson got off the home run schneid, so that was nice.
Yes.
Urias got his first homer of the year as well, so that was also nice. The Brewers only had 3 chances with runners in scoring position, so they were 0 for 3 in that. Other than that, just take your lumps, man. I'm gonna be quiet for now because I have a lot to say.
Okay, so this game basically was decided in the first 3 innings.
Yeah,
we were stranded a couple in the first inning. Top of the second inning, Brian Anderson, he absolutely smoked that home run that he hit, by the way. It was 411 feet. That was awesome. Luis Urias made it back-to-back. I'm like, all right, cool. We're off to a good start. That was pretty much it. Christian Yelich did follow that up with a good hustle double. That's why I brought up before, like, if we're talking about ways to improve the offense, which we'll get to, maybe being a little aggressive on the base paths. I mean, Christian Yelich did it, stretched into a double, and he was safe by, solid, I would say probably 2-3 steps.
Yeah.
So good job by him. Bottom of the third inning, Twins score their 4 runs, all of them with 2 outs. And you're looking at the final. I will say it's tough being in a field that you haven't played in a lot, and also being in your secondary position for Brian Anderson. I'm not making an excuse for him, like saying, well, Brian Anderson didn't do anything wrong. What I'm saying is, looking at context, Brian Anderson has played all of his career in the NL. So he's played at Target Field probably less than 10 times in his career, because there was almost no interleague before this season.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about Marlins and Twins, how often those teams would match up. It's not like Twins and Brewers, who are right next to each other and they do the border battle thing.
Every year, right.
The Marlins and the Twins don't have that. So you're talking about a ballpark that Brian Anderson has almost never played in, playing his secondary position in a ballpark that has those high fences too. So you got to kind of try to judge those.
And it's a newer ballpark too, so.
Yeah, it's just a situation where, I didn't feel the need to criticize Brian Anderson's defense. I mean, he's doing what he can to help the Brewers in the outfield. And that's where the Brewers, they brought in Rafael Tapia. He played a lot of years for the Colorado Rockies, and I'll get to him in a second. But the Brewers only had one hit after the third inning, no other base runners. So one hit, no walks, no hit by pitches, nothing after the third inning. So we're looking at essentially 6 innings with one base runner.
Yikes.
And I'll get to the offense in a little bit. But Brian Anderson said after the game, talking about today and yesterday, he said, I know it doesn't look good right now, but we're going to bounce back. I have no doubt.
Hey, love to hear it.
Words of encouragement and confidence from a veteran player, I will take that all day long.
Love to hear it.
Especially when you're talking about players who are actually on the field playing the game every single day professionally for the Brewers, the team that we cheer for.
They're literally 500, and everybody's acting like we're like 10 games under.
And that's what I said before too. It's red bottom, the team's pathetic, the worst in the league. It's like, it literally could be worse.
We're literally 500, so we're literally average. And I won't lie, we've looked average at times. So our record is speaking for itself. We are what we are.
What did you pick the Brewers record to be? I think I want to say I was 87-90 range.
I think I was one win above you. I know that for a fact.
So, I mean, we're talking upper 80s, lower 90s.
Yeah.
500 would be 81.
Think about that. The Brewers could still definitely win 90 games. Let's not kid ourselves, right? They could win 90 games.
Well, I'm so glad you brought it up. Let me mention Tapia quick.
Okay.
So the Brewers added Rafael Tapia. I don't know why the Red Sox DFA'd him. The dude's triple slash, batting .264, had a .333 on base percentage and a .368 slugging.
I don't know.
And he plays good defense.
I do not know. I'll take that on the Brewers though.
I'll take it too. And he's got sick hair flow. He's got cool dreadlocks. All right. You ready to rant a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna give the floor to you because I know you've been itching, bro. I know you've been itching.
So this
Isaac's coming at a good time.
All right, this is
there it is.
Oh, Isaac got in here. Perfect timing. Okay. All right. If there are little ears around, just put some earmuffs on them for a second. This segment is literally titled "Quit Being Fucking Crybabies."
No, Weatherman Jake is gone. He's a nice guy. I'm not being nice right now.
Weatherman Jake only comes for football season.
Yep.
Okay. All right, now listen. I want to bring these parallels from sports fandom to life because I think it's important. Not only for players, but it's also important for us as fans. I do really think strongly that there is a strong correlation with how you act as a fan of teams versus how you your mindset in real life. I believe there is a strong correlation there. If you are a miserable person in your life, you will be a miserable person in your fandom. We want to help you be more positive in your fandom so you can be more positive in your life. If you have a couple losses in a row in your life, are you going to be calling yourself pathetic?
I really hope
want that. And I get that people do that. That people hurt themselves that way by talking about themselves that way. But would you want that for yourself?
No, that's not a healthy way to live.
So let me just bring up 2018, what I would say is probably the best Brewers year in Craig Counsell time. The Brewers got to the NLCS. They were one game short of the World Series. 2018, 4 games swept by the Chicago Cubs in April. They started the month of August 5-10. And going into the month of August, lost a 5-game series to the Pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates were horrible too.
Lost all 5 games.
Yep.
That happened in 2018. You know what happened? They finished the month of August average, and they went on the Craig-Timber of 2018. It's the reason we call it Craig-Timber, because the Brewers got so hot in September, forced the game 163, won it, got in the playoffs, made a run, 1 game short of the World Series against the Dodgers and their gajillion-dollar payroll.
Good times.
Imagine blaming the wind. Yeah, it could be worse. It could be worse. Listen, the thing is that people, whatever narrative it is that you want to push, whether it be the bullshit narrative that, oh, this team has no competitive fire, guy hits a home run, everybody's excited. It's not like everybody's sitting in the dugout like, okay, yeah, cool, we hit a home run. I can't wait to lose this lead. That's how people on social media act. Not a damn person in the dugout is saying that or thinking that. Oh, can't wait to blow this lead. Yeah, cool. That's why you're talking on Facebook and this dude's making $1 million to play a game.
Yeah, Doug, who gets his coffee and donut every day, going to his concrete job.
Dude. And then, so whether it be, you think it's Craig Counsell's to blame, even though people are blaming Craig Counsell for losing a game and not coaching that day.
Right, dude.
Which just laughable. Or whether you think it be Atanasio. And I actually saw people saying to sell the team. Do you not want to have baseball in Wisconsin?
Nope.
If you're at a point where that's how you want to act, the Brewers are at a critical junction of whether they're going to be here for the next 20 years or not. If it doesn't get done now, like, this would be the time that the Brewers would get moved.
Yeah.
Like, do people realize that? And you actually want to suggest that? I don't want the Brewers to leave. I don't want to have one less team to talk about every Wednesday.
Yeah, that would suck.
I don't want to have nothing to talk about in the summertime because we don't have a baseball team here to watch.
Wow, we could talk about our minor league hockey team.
Yeah, which I would like to, but we're getting into more niche with that.
Yeah.
The other thing being, Atanasio didn't spend. They didn't come into the season prepared. First of all, they didn't come into the season expecting Garrett Mitchell and Jesse Winker and Tyrone Taylor, 754 pitchers to all be hurt. You can't come in the middle of June, see 14 guys injured, and be like, why didn't they plan for this? You shitting me? And then the other thing being not spending. It doesn't correlate with winning. It doesn't. Winning and spending do not correlate the same way. The exact examples are right in front of our faces this season, being the Padres and the Mets. They both have nearly triple the payroll of the Brewers and worse records and fewer injuries and more superstar players and worse records.
And worse records.
Hence this category name. Quit being fucking crybabies. The Brewers, all things considered, could be in a much worse position. Anything you'd like to add to this segment?
Okay. First of all, for everybody who just comes on Facebook and bitches, please shut the fuck up. Please. I literally have that written down to say that first. Please shut the fuck up. You are so annoying. Like, I can't imagine living with you if this is how you deal with sports. I can't. How many times do we have to tell you? How many times does Tyler have to back his goddamn chair up and tell you that baseball season's fucking long?
Bro, I didn't expect you to call me out like that on backing the chair up. Oh, shit.
It's not like I'm calling you out, but it's like, are people not paying attention? Do you not know that they play 162 of these motherfuckers?
Oh, that's awesome.
Do you understand that you could lose some games? They could literally go on a 7-game winning streak, and this never fucking happened. It never happened.
This is the thing, is that you can say this team can go on a 7-game win streak, and people will be like, no, they can't. They're so bad. Literally, the team that you were calling the worst team in MLB history for the last series that the Brewers lost at home, they got swept by, are on a 7-game winning streak.
Seriously.
If the worst team, quote unquote, in MLB history can go on a 7-game winning streak, a subpar offensive, good pitching, great defensive team can also go on a 7-game winning streak. They could also win 20 out of 30 games in September. They could also win 20 out of 30 games in August. They could also win 15 out of 22 games in July. They could finish the month of June over 500. This is not the end of the world on June 14th.
Dude, a chunky white guy is getting called the best player in basketball. Sports is amazing, dude. Sports is amazing. Anything can happen. And the season is not over. It is literally June 14th. Are you fucking kidding me? I can't do this anymore. This is why I don't comment. Because I know once I comment, dude,
94 games to go. 92.
I know once I comment, it's just going to be a back and forth, and I'm just going to be wasting my time with some fucking sorry son of a bitch who lives at home and smells like cigarettes. Okay?
And I don't. Okay. So the two things that I'm tired of explaining is, or I should say, all right, it's one thing I'm tired of explaining and one thing I'm tired of hearing. The thing I'm tired of explaining is that Major League Baseball is the most zoomed out regular season.
Yes, thank you.
It has more ebbs and flows than any other professional sport.
Just ride the wave.
Dude, people are riding it hard. They're riding it
up
so
their freaking
hard.
anus, obviously.
They're riding a 162 baseball season, 162 baseball game season, like it's a 17-game NFL season.
It's just ridiculous.
There's 10 times as many games.
It just makes no sense to me. I'm just
my God. No wonder people are like, basically bipolar on the internet. You got to just relax a little bit.
My God. Man.
The thing that I'm tired of hearing is, I've been a fan for this many years. I pay money to do this. I have the right to criticize and call them out when they're being shitty or pathetic or whatever. Nobody's saying that you can't, but we're really trying to call into question whether you should. And I'm not saying that you should do what we say, but the reason we are saying that you should change your mindset on these things is because it makes a difference in your fucking life. It seriously has. Jake actually just said this to me the other day. He's like, I can tell the work that we've done has changed me.
Yeah. Just by reading the comments, I'm like, bro, I would never go off the deep end like this. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And it really actually, like I said before, it actually really makes me proud of the first two comments that came in on the show, where this happens to all teams every year. Ride it out and don't count the Brewers out yet. They can still get hot. I'm proud that those are the people that are commenting on our show. James said nobody's saying you can't. Also, nobody cares. and that's the thing. Like, it's, if you want to be negative, like, don't be the first person running to Facebook just to hope that other people want to be miserable with you. If you're going to be miserable, like, keep it to yourself so you're not making more people miserable. James brought up a really good point about the Diamondbacks. They're leading their division, and they have the lowest payroll in their division. Money and spending do not directly correlate. They do sometimes, but when we get, like I mentioned, some of these statistics that I'm going into it on how to improve, spending doesn't mean shit. The Brewers are better than Yankees in some categories. They're better than the Padres in some categories. They're better than the Mets in some categories. It's you just, when we're talking about the baseball season, it's 10% or 10 times as many games. So we're talking about being through 68 games, so call it 7 games of the NFL season. A 2-5 team could make the playoffs.
I mean, it's
but
rare.
Here's the thing: the Brewers haven't lost the equivalent of 5 NFL games. That would be a 20-50 record, which is right where the Oakland A's are. I'm not saying the Oakland A's are going to end up putting themselves in the playoffs, but I'm saying that there's so much of this season left.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even at the halfway point yet.
Yeah.
We're barely over a third of the way through, and people are completely off the ship already.
Good. I'm about to kick the rest of them off.
And like you said before, that we're literally just entering the dog days. Like today is essentially day one of the dog days.
We're
like
literally
the Stanley Cup playoffs ended last night. The
Yeah.
finals ended the night before.
Yeah.
And the NFL doesn't start training camp for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
So we are literally, today is day one of the dog days. And people are already like completely off the rockers and have, smashed the rockers and put it onto a bonfire. Like, okay, cool. You have a month and a half to build yourself another rocking chair for the rest of the season. Like that's what I would say is actually a decent analogy for it. If you're off the rocker, you have time to build another one and then to sit down in it for the last 2 months of the season still.
I don't want them on.
So much of the season left to go.
Yeah, it's
James said, you know what I've noticed? Teams that expect their teams to be bad tend to not go into chaotic meltdowns when their teams lose, like teams that expect their teams to be contenders do after one game. And that's where I brought up, Jake and I think our records were in the low 90s, upper 80s.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about a 7-game losing streak, that's something that you don't feel that, a team that wins 90, 95 games does. And that's, when you talk about the scheme of a season, you can win just as many games in a row as you lose. There's nothing preventing you from doing that. Mm-hmm. What I've said in years past, and one of my positive takeaways actually from last season with the Brewers tied into one of the things that Craig Counsell said, that having high expectations is in and of itself a positive takeaway.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually glad that we have the opportunity to be saying, like we have a chance in our division, even though it's not a great division. I don't care. Get me in and let's see what happens.
Yeah, you never know.
Last year, a wild card team was in the
World Series.
In the the World Series. Yes, thank you. The 2019 Nationals were a wild card team that won the World Series. The year before, there was a wild card team in the. I know it was in the NLCS. I don't remember if there was one in the ALCS too. But I mean, you're talking about the Final Four of Major League Baseball. There's been a wild card team in it. Basically, I want to say like 4 out of the last 5 seasons, including one World Series winner, was a wild card team.
Man,
just get me in. I don't care what it takes. Like, I don't care if it's 87 wins the NL Central. I don't care. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, here we go. They're going to get in just to get, swept by whatever series. I don't care. Get me in. Get me a chance. Isaac said it cracks me up when people watch the team win 5 games and once they lose one, oh, here we go again. We're doomed. That's what it feels like, except it's now, the Brewers are on a 6-game losing streak. And it's been like doom, 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 doom. And it's just every day. And every day it's trade somebody or fire somebody new. I hate it. Like, it's just got to be, some context. And the thing that I would ask is if you're so desperate to complain that you can't hold it in, that you need to run to social media and complain, can we please just suggest something constructive?
And, I'm going to comment something real quick. First of all, to Isaac's comment, that's just people with weak mindsets, in my opinion. You lose one, they're like, oh, no, PTSD. Go away, first of all. Second of all, I was going to say, what just happened in the NBA? A team that lost the first play-in game, first of all.
Yep.
They had to win. They were on their last leg. They made it to the finals, dude.
Yep.
And they were running through everybody.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they got tired. They weren't shooting as good because they were making every three, right? Yep. And Jimmy was just on fire, going crazy. And they just made it to the finals, dude.
Yep.
There's no reason to say the Brewers can't be the team in baseball to be on their last leg and they somehow win the pennant. They somehow make it to the World Series.
That 2019 Nationals team beat the Milwaukee Brewers in a 1-game playoff in the wild card round.
Yeah,
and then went and won a World Series.
Think about that, man. And that was the last time they won a playoff game, by the way. Random stat. But
I don't think they've sniffed the playoffs.
No, they have not. But it's nuts that people are just – it is fucking June 14th, dude.
Yeah.
How many times do I have to tell you? Also, again, please shut the fuck up. I'm just so sick and tired of reading that shit, dude. I'm so sick of it.
Isaac said the fire people crowd never have any viable replacements, and that's definitely true. For as much complaining as people have done about the Brewers hitting coaches and bench coach, I mean, like if we're talking about replacements, I mean, like what, Jim Henderson, the bullpen coach? Like, sure, but he's a former player just like Greg Counsell, who hasn't been managing games for the last 9 years.
Yeah, and also not the winningest manager in team history or anything like that, or hasn't won a couple World Series. You know, it's no big deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
No big deal.
Oh, man, he'd get scooped up so fast.
Yeah, they were.
James brought up the year that the Blues won the Stanley Cup. They were in last place in the whole league in the All-Star break.
Hockey's crazy like that, though.
Hockey's fun. Playoff hockey's so fun.
Hockey's
okay.
Nuts.
So we're going to transition now, like I said, to a constructive thing. So I said last week that I was going to look up how the Brewers can improve. So I've looked up a bunch of their stats, percentages, where they lie. It's not a secret that the Brewers' offense is what needs to improve.
Yep.
Mentioned it today. Only one base runner after the third inning. It's not a secret that the offense is where the improvement is needed.
Well,
but can we just do something other than saying the Brewers' offense sucks? That's not constructive. That helps nobody. That's just a shrinking mindset, and it's whining, essentially. Hence the previous segment. Quit being crybabies. It's just whining. It's just blind, mindless whining that serves no purpose to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, Jake and I, we do this for the positivity, optimism aspect of it, but sometimes we have to be realistic, and the realistic aspect of it is that the Brewers are in bottom 5 in a lot of offensive categories.
They are.
Now, when I relay these numbers and percentages, I'm going to look at them and deduce what can be done to change them. I'm not just going to sit here and complain about it. I'm going to look at what can improve. That is a growth mindset that Jake and I have discussed since Badger basketball season. So, batting average, the Brewers are 26th. We're talking about spending. The Yankees are in 24th, 2 spots ahead of the Brewers. The Padres are 2 spots back in 28th.
Oh, shit.
They have Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis on their team. And they are 28th in batting average. Yeah, Isaac, the eye can hit better. Yeah.
That's just like the people that, think they can, throw better than the quarterbacks and shoot better than the players in the NBA.
Coach better than NFL coaches.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So, home runs, and spoiler alert, this is going to come back. The Brewers are 16th in home runs. That's okay. That's not where they've been in years past.
Yeah.
They're middle of the pack in walks. They are 4th in strikeouts. And herein lies my first thing that can improve. Is they need to strike out less. It's just really plain and simple. They're 4th in the league in strikeouts. It needs to be better.
Jesus.
And I have, when I get to some of these percentages, I have ways that I think it can be done. So the Brewers are also 25th in on-base percentage, which if you're striking out, it's not going to be helpful. They're 27th in slugging percentage, just really on par for it. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. The Brewers are 16th in barrel percentage. That's not bad. That's right around middle of the league. They're 21st in hard hit percentage, which is obviously bottom 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
But this is probably the most eye-opening ranking for me. These two, they go together. 28th in zone swing percentage. 27th in zone contact percentage. So, and this might go to the detriment of my first thing, which was to strike out less. But here's the thing. The Brewers just got to swing more. They got to swing more.
Yeah.
Especially at pitches in the zone. Because here's the thing. They have the 8th lowest chase percentage, which is great. It's totally a great place to be in. Super happy with that.
Yeah.
Which tells me that the Brewers have the plate discipline to not swing at bad pitches.
Mm.
But the thing that I really believe that they need to do is when the pitches are on the edges, it's time to swing at those. And when I get into another one down the line, I'm going to kind of look at like what to do with those pitches when they're swinging at them. The Brewers, this ties into their strikeouts. They are 5th in whiff percentage. So to me, I'm looking at, with that and the zone swing percentage, I'm looking at it where the Brewers are looking for certain pitches. Mm-hmm. And if they're not getting those, they're not swinging. And then they get into positions where they're looking for certain pitches and not getting those and then swinging and missing.
Mm.
So maybe, to me, it almost seems like maybe a scouting thing. Because, you're looking at, some of the swinging statistics. 22nd in BABIP. Do you know what BABIP stands for?
No, I do not.
That is batting average on balls in play.
Oh.
The Brewers are 22nd. So when they make contact, they're 22nd in batting average on balls that are actually in play. Now, they have the 6th highest ground ball percentage.
I believe that.
And they are 28th in line drive percentage.
I believe that too.
So here's the thing. They're middle of the pack in weak contact. They are number 4 in topped contact. So they're swinging over the top of pitches.
Okay.
So they're number 4 in that. So it's really the Brewers are beating the ball into the ground a lot and just grounding out a lot, as well as striking out a lot.
They get a hit, get a ground out.
I didn't look to see where they rank in grounded to double plays. I didn't look at that.
Wow.
They are 29th in flare, which is like the ones that just get over the infield. So the Brewers could use a little luck on their side too. I wouldn't mind a little luck on the Brewers aspect of it. 26th in solid contact percentage. And then they are number 2 in soft contact percentage, which is where you want to be.
Sorry.
This is the one that you saw commented on earlier, was batting average in clutch situations. The Brewers were 26th.
Yeah.
They are above the Mets and the Padres in that aspect, though. So back to it again. Spending does not directly correlate with winning.
Yeah, the Padres have been ass, man. Let's just call it what it is.
Man, all right. So here's what I'm looking at as far as where the Brewers are hitting the ball. They are 11th in opposite field, which I'm perfectly happy with them being there. They've done a really good job of using the opposite field.
They actually have, yeah.
They are the 4th highest middle percentage. So the Brewers are hitting up the middle a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But they are 27th in pull percentage.
That probably has something to do with their approach.
So that's where I'm really looking at it, between the zone swinging and the pulling. Like, it might be time to just say, hey, like, if you're a lefty, put the ball down the right field line. Yeah. If you're a righty, put the ball down the left field line. Yeah. Like, we don't always have to have that opposite field approach. And the Brewers have a lot of guys that are good at that. And it maybe is just a thing where they're so focused on, like, all right, there's a big gap in right center. Like, I'm going to try to hit it. Like, I get seeing, being wide-eyed and being like, man, look how big that gap is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And Willie Adames looking at it and being a guy who can hit to right center and then popping out to left field. Because you're looking at that right center gap thinking like, man, if I can just hit it there, I can run forever.
Yeah.
So that's really where I'm kind of coming down to this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's so much, pre-swing, focus taken on that's where they're leading into, getting on top of the ball, swinging and missing, not swinging at pitches in the zone because you're not getting the pitch you looked for. And then part of it too is we're talking guys who are probably expecting to spend the entire year in AAA being forced into major roles.
Yeah.
And the Abraham Toros, the Andrew Monasterio, John Singleton, who's getting a lot of hate. Hey, he's doing what he can. Like, obviously, he's struggling in the 10 games that he's been here, but I mean, he probably expected to spend the entire year in AAA, and he's doing what he can. Blake Perkins is another one who's probably expecting to spend the entire year in AAA, and he's here playing almost every day. That's where I'm hoping that the Ramiel Tapia situation can be something that ends up helping the Brewers a lot.
That would be nice.
So basically what I'm looking for the Brewers to do, swing in the zone more, get the ball off the ground, and look to pull the ball a little bit more. That's where I'm looking at. Because when I'm looking at things here, the Brewers are 23rd in value batting. So they're in the bottom third. Could be worse. They're 23rd in runs above replacement. That to me is an indicator of some of the injuries, because we're talking about replacement players who are making lots of appearances for the Brewers. We're talking about replacement players like the guys that I just mentioned. Those guys are playing a lot. Those are replacement players. Isaac, I'm gonna refute that a little bit. I'm gonna go against that a little bit. Isaac said small ball helps as well. Don't swing for the fences at any pitch. I actually don't think the Brewers are doing that as much. Because they're not hitting the ball super hard. It's not, they're not swinging for the fences. They're not top half of the league in barrel percentage. I think the Brewers could use a few more home runs, actually. Last few years, we've been talking about the Brewers being top 5, top 10 in home runs. This year, they're 16th.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked, but I mean, it feels like the Brewers have lost a lot of close games. It doesn't feel like they've gotten blown out often, but it's like a couple games here or there. Even if there's a couple solo shots or 1 2-run home run or 1 3-run home run, the Brewers change from a win to a loss.
What's that?
Minus. Yeah, Isaac said it irks me at times when players swing at pitches out of the zone. That is one thing the Brewers are actually doing well. Like I mentioned, 8th lowest chase percentage. I'm perfectly happy with being in that position. Now, this is something that we lost a little bit with Garrett Mitchell, but I mean, we're talking about a solid month since that happened. The Brewers are 6th in stolen bases. So the Brewers are still grabbing bases. That keep doing what you're doing. The Brewers aren't getting thrown out a ton, so I'm perfectly fine with continuing to steal bases. This is where it's a little tough. The Brewers are 24th in value running. This is base running. This is where I brought up being a little more aggressive on the base paths, and I think this to me comes down to Jason Lane, the third base coach. You gotta windmill some guys a little more.
Yeah.
Force the issue a little bit. The Brewers aren't having a ton of success getting on base, which I mentioned with their 28th on base percentage. Sorry, 25th on base percentage. When you get guys on base, you got to start moving them around the bases a little more. Having guys going from first to third is something that I feel that they do fairly often, but you got to start sending guys around third base. Force the issue, force your defense. And I feel like I said this last year, force the defense to make a perfect play to get you out.
It's
and
almost
you don't want to make the first or the last out on the base pass. I get that. That's one of those unwritten rules of baseball. But when you're looking at trying to create more offense, you got to start being a little more aggressive with the guys on base when you are actually getting guys on base.
Yeah.
That's where I brought up today. Christian Yelich had that hustle double. He hit a ball that was kind of slow rolling into the outfield. Instead of jogging with his jogging to first base, happy with a single, he busted it right out of the batter's box, went straight to second base. I need more of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not expecting Rowdy Tellez to try to leg out doubles and shit, but you know what
I mean, within good reason, right?
Like, you don't need to hold Luis Urias at third base. Like, send him.
I agree.
Here is one. I'm going to end with this one because it's a palate cleanser that makes me feel good. The Brewers are number 1 in value fielding. The Brewers have the best valued defense in Major League Baseball, according to Fangraphs. So that makes me happy.
Nice.
Okay. Anything else you want to throw out there with the Brewers? I have their schedule ahead of me.
Boy.
The Brewers have 3 games against Pittsburgh, 3 games against Arizona. I'm going to look for a 4-2 week. I would like to just win the 2 series. I'm not looking for any sweeps. I'd be happy if they do, but I just want the Brewers to win the next 2 series, get some mojo back, some confidence. That's what I'm ready.
All right. I'm just going to ignore that for a sec.
Dad joke Wednesday over there from Isaac. Isaac becomes a dad and he starts making dad jokes.
I was going to tell Isaac before because he's been taking his son swimming. We'll take all the shitty fans that we don't like, and we'll just have your son drown them in the deep end.
Isaac's son is really little. He's not actually drowning anybody.
No. He's like a baby. It's a joke. I'll go 4-2. I think they're capable of that.
I agree.
Diamondbacks are a good team this year, and the Pirates are surprisingly good. But
these are all at home, by the way.
You gotta believe what Brian Anderson said. He's gonna create some good karma, some good juju. So
yeah,
I agree with it.
And this is the thing. Like, if you're so desperately that the Brewers are pathetic, they can't do this, can't do that. The team that I just said this during the rant, the team that you said is the worst team, quote unquote, in baseball history is on a 7-game winning streak.
Yeah.
The Brewers can do it too, and then they'd be 7 games over 500, back in first place. This 3-game series with the Pirates, if they can take 2 out of 3, they'll be back in first place in their division, despite being on a 6-game losing streak just before that.
On June 14th, by the way. I don't know if anybody remembers the date.
Yeah, it is. It is June 14th. Thank you for bringing that up, actually. I'd totally forgotten that it was June 14th.
Well, that was for all the people that think the season's over. So
yeah, we're literally not even halfway. All right.
The next game is game 69, so we got that going.
Nice. Oh, man, that feels like a good way to start a 69-game winning streak.
Oh, don't even start. Oh.
All right. So last thing we have for today's show is talking about Adrian Griffin. We didn't talk about his press conference last week. Jake was a little under the weather, so we tried to push it back to this week. And it kind of worked out a little bit because we've gotten basically his entire staff finalized. Unfortunately, Charles Lee kind of caught in the crosshairs, or kind of, the odd man out. So we're looking at, obviously, Adrian Griffin, DJ Baker, Nate Mitchell, Joe Prunty, Patrick Mutombo, and then Josh Oppenheimer and Vin Baker and Terry Stotts as the lead assistant. So, Jake, let's start with Adrian Griffin. What are you thinking about the hire? I mean, how are you feeling about it?
Man, during his presser, he said one thing that really stood out to me and should stick out to every single person. Not every single person, I guess, because not everybody's going to watch a presser for the Bucks' new head coach, right? But the one thing that he said is he started talking about the X's and O's, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're listening to him, he goes, and he's not a great speaker. I'll say that to start right now. It's his first opportunity, really. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but I'll tell you this. He's a basketball guy. Mm-hmm. That guy knows basketball. Immediately when he started, and he's very respectful. I love that he wanted to know everybody's name, and he was thanking them for their time and questions and stuff. The first opportunity he got to talk X's and O's, dude, he just went off.
Horst said the same thing about his interview. He said they could tell when they brought him back to talk X's and O's. They said Horst said he was like itching to go and talk about it.
He was itching to go up to the whiteboard and break down the film. And when he was talking, he was real slow and very monotone. And then he got a little excited talking about pressuring the ball and defense first and turning defense into offense. And he said, he got asked a question about being a defensive-minded guy and how that translates to offense. And he said, if you're a defensive guy, it's almost like you got a cheat sheet to the offense because you can figure out what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. So I like that as well. Also, I love that he said pressure the ball. I'm going to keep bringing that up because that's amazing. I think his mindset is going to match with Giannis. That's like the first thing. I did see that, Isaac. that the Bucks might make a run at Bradley Beal. I don't know. John Horst is an aggressive GM.
Yeah.
So I would not take anything off the table. Just say that.
I want to pull up the exact article. I want to see exactly what Shams said about it when he mentioned the Bucks.
He's going to put the best roster possible so that this team can be as successful as humanly possible under the Adrian Griffin-led Milwaukee Bucks. The last thing that I'm going to say real quick before I listen to Tyler, and then I'm going to remember that I forgot something to say, is he talked about switching up game plans mid-game. He talked about guarding different players differently, in playoff series. And he said, we're playing for April, May, and June. And I'll tell you what, that fucking got me going, dude. I was like, fuck yeah, we are. I knew this shit was going to happen. Oh, I'm so pissed right now. I freaking knew that because Jokic made the finals, he's the best player in the league. I have a freaking screenshot from ESPN. They said, do you want to take Jokic or the field for the next 5 years? And they all pick Jokic. They all pick
the field? I don't care who it is. I'm always taking the field.
I'm telling you right now. You know who's in their field? A 7-foot pissed off Greek god.
Dude. And he, every time I think he can't get more jacked, he literally proves me wrong and comes back more jacked.
People are going to regret talking
and now
shit
he's
about
angry.
Giannis. Yeah, the Giannis villain arc
man.
starts soon. Not soon enough, but I'm telling you, he's about to be wrecking everybody. And
Giannis with a chip on his shoulder.
Dude, Jokic is not better than Giannis. I'm not having that debate right now, but God, am I so mad about that Jokic shit, dude. And Jokic is a really good player.
Yep.
I'm not saying he's trash.
Yeah.
But
he's awesome. He's fun to watch. He's good for the game.
He's awesome on offense. He's a great playmaker.
Yep.
His IQ is off the charts, bro.
Yep.
But he cannot switch on a screen on a shooting guard. That's where it ends. That's the conversation. It's done. It's over now.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I could think of probably 10 big men who could score on Jokic every single possession off the top of my head.
Dude,
And just real quick, because we're on the subject of the Nuggets, I want to say for 2 players that I'm actually really happy for them that they won this championship. Actually, 3. Sorry, 3. One being Jamal Murray, because I actually really like him.
I like Jamal Murray.
You
better
2, 2 being Bruce Brown.
I'm okay with that.
Because he was stuck on that Nets team that was kind of, the Nets.
He got really good this year, too.
So Bruce Brown for him, good for him. He got out of the KD Kyrie Brooklyn situation and was able to win a title out of it. The other one is Aaron Gordon.
Ooh, you didn't say the one that I'm thinking.
Aaron Gordon was on some terrible Orlando Magic teams.
Yeah.
And now he's got a ring in Denver. So I'm glad for him too.
The one guy that I'm really happy for, I didn't even think about Aaron Gordon. Uncle Jeff, dude. Jeff Green. I'm so happy for him, dude. I really am.
Good for him. He was actually on one of those Brooklyn teams too. So
yeah, as a human being, because he was going through a lot of stuff, man. Like mentally, that's got to be tough to deal with, like all the stuff. But
he's played for what, 9 teams, I want to say.
Man, he's played for the whole league, man. Like I've seen him in
everybody
jersey,
except for the Bucks.
Right.
But he's played for a lot of teams. So good for him for getting one. Isaac, as for the Bucks being interested in Bradley Beal, it's not actually something that came from the team. So this is what Shams has in his article on the subject of Bradley Beal. It says it's unclear whether the Wizards will ultimately decide upon a rebuild or if they find an acceptable trade, but sources said both sides are working amicably to find the path forward. With the draft looming on June 22nd, the sources who were granted anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the matter, said the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks are expected to be prominent suitors for Beal if he reaches the market.
Oh.
That's all we got.
Dude, and what did I tell you? The Heat are going to be connected to every goddamn player now.
Bradley Beal they've been connected to previously, but
right.
It's not a situation where the Bucks have made an offer for Bradley Beal, because they haven't. There's nothing to support that. It's just that
Right.
these sources expect the Bucks to be involved.
Yeah.
Justin's watching on YouTube. He says it's been a while. He said he misses me, but not Jake. I understand.
Who would you hear? Fred VanVleet? We already know that one.
Yeah, he's been linked to the Bucks a couple times too. And part of me not liking him stems from the fact that he goes nuclear every time he plays against the Bucks. So if he's on our team, I have reason to hate him less, because then he can't go nuclear against the Bucks.
That would actually kind of make sense because of the Griffin hire and the Patrick Mutombo hire.
Right.
Kind of has the Raptor. We have the Raptor ties a little bit.
Right.
Just give us Siakam while you're at it.
I'll take Siakam all day.
Right.
You wanted Gary Trent last year, so I mean, you got that.
Gary Trent is a good role player.
Yeah, I agree.
He reminds me a little bit of a Bruce Brown.
That's fair. I'll say Bruce Brown is a better defender. Gary Trent is a better shooter.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, Siakam, you put Siakam and Giannis on the floor at the same time, you're not scoring.
Bro, you're getting length, you're getting playmaking, you're getting people that can get to the rim. Like, yikes.
That would be unfair. Okay, so back to Adrian Griffin. I wanted to bring this up because 9 first-year head coaches have won championships. 3 of those 9 came in the last decade.
Really?
You want to guess who those 3 are?
I know one, Steve Kerr.
That's 1.
Who the hell? Oh, Tyronn Lue, maybe?
That's 1. So you got 2 out of 3.
So on the Cavs.
Super close to Adrian Griffin.
Oh, Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse is the 3rd one.
Aha!
3 coaches in the last 10 years have won championships in their first season as a coach.
Huh. Interesting.
And no prior head coaching experience before that.
Say it ain't so.
So if you're worried about the fact that he didn't have prior head coaching experience, despite the fact that he's been an assistant for 15 years and played in the NBA for 8 years before that, so he's been in the NBA for 23 straight years, I'm not super worried about it. The other thing with him, he said he's got his 3 C's, is character, confidence, and creativity. I love that. That's a super simple way to talk about the approach to guys that they put on his staff.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as on the court, he said ball movement, body movement, and they're still going to work inside out. It's super, super simple, but it's also, it's a philosophy that I think would build a winning basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac said, if Adam Silver elects to have World versus USA at the All-Star game, how's the USA going to win? It's just like the Olympics, except everybody else gets put against the US. I like that more for the futures game when you're talking the rookie sophomore game when they do that. I like doing that USA versus World versus doing all the established guys.
Bro, the All-Star game, dude, the world would freaking shit down our necks, dude. It would be bad.
Well, just the starting 5 of the world team would be nuts.
Dude, Embiid, Doncic, Jokic, Giannis. I mean, Wemby at some point. Think about that. That's 4 7-footers and a 6'7" guy. Jesus Christ. I mean, SGA is technically, because he's Canadian. Murray.
Wiggins is Canadian.
Wiggins.
Ben Simmons is
Damn,
Australian.
bro.
Kyrie could technically be considered Australian.
Australian, right? Oh my goodness. We're not touching them. It's over.
Okay. Anyways, back to the Bucks coaching staff. That's where I'm at with Adrian Griffin. I like the hire. I'm good with it. Getting to assistants. Let's just kind of go down the bench. So we're gonna get Terry Stotts first. What do you think about Terry Stotts?
Great hire. Veteran guy, been in the league for a long time. Was the head coach for the Bucks from 05 to 07. Understands how to coach superstars. He was with Dame for a long time. Dame loves him. So great.
Just because you brought up Damian Lillard, I'm going to say this, that getting Terry Stotts as an assistant coach is not a signal that we're going to get Damian Lillard.
I mean, I'll take him.
I would too. But it's everything I've seen from Portland is that they would rather move forward with Damian Lillard than Anthony Simons, which is nuts to me. Simons is much younger, but
Yeah.
I get it.
And
Dame is a superstar.
he's got crazy potential too.
Yeah.
We don't even know what he could be with the full potential.
Yeah. Good coaching. Okay. So Terry Stotts, he's an offensive mind, and I talked about it during the offseason that I wanted an offensive-minded head coach with a defensive assistant, and the Bucks did it the opposite way. They went with a defensive mind and an offensive assistant, which I'm okay with because they're talking about the team being a defensive first, and you mentioned defense leading into offense.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me makes sense by going defense in the lead chair, offense in the first chair.
Mm-hmm.
Stotts carried Portland to 8 straight playoff appearances with Portland. He's developed picks well, and he was on the coaching staff of the 2011 Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, that too. That's a good point.
That's the Mavericks team that beat the Big Three Miami Heat. So I figured I'd mention that with him. So Josh Oppenheimer, Vin Baker, Patrick Mutombo, Joe Prunty, Nate Mitchell, DJ Baker. Is there anything you want to say about any of those guys specifically? I have a couple notes, but nothing extensive.
Patrick Mutombo, he worked with Griffin in Toronto, so there's familiarity there. Prunty's coming back. He was with the Bucks from 14 to 18, so kind of those green and growing years. Remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer, he was with us from 2013 to 2016. He came back to us.
Future years.
Yeah. He came back to us in 2020. He's been with us ever since. Vin Baker, former All-Star, really, really good NBA player. He's really he gets the credit for developing Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis. So love that they kept him around. Big guy whisperer, in my opinion.
Yep.
DJ Baker, all I got on him is that he coached the Pistons G League team, so he understands player development. So that's going to be great for guys like Marjan and AJ Green and whoever we decide to draft this year. And Nate Mitchell, also a player development type. He is the U23 Canadian team guy. He works with guys like RJ Barrett and SGA, and he's credited for helping those guys grow their games too. So
you touched on pretty much everything that I have. I will throw out with Oppenheimer and Vin Baker being retained. Those two guys are both super close with Giannis.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer actually ended up on the Greece coaching staff in the 2022 Eurobasket Championship last summer.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
That's how close he is with Giannis. He goes to Greece in the off seasons with Giannis to work out.
Griffin was just there, and Marjan.
Griffin, Baker, and Oppenheimer were all just there.
Wow.
Marjan is actually in Giannis with Greece too.
Dude, that Instagram post he had was fire. That was fire.
So last thing I want to throw out is with Nate Mitchell. You mentioned his player development. One of the things I want to bring up is even though that he was familiar with Griffin in Toronto, he previously coached under James Borrego in Charlotte. I wanted the Bucks to bring in James Borrego because I think he's a great offensive-minded coach. So they're getting some of that, that coaching tree a little bit with Borrego, having been, Nate Mitchell having been on his staff previously in Charlotte. So maybe if we get just a little bit of shades of Borrego from Nate Mitchell, I'll still get a little bit of that satisfaction as far as the Bucks offense is concerned.
A little bit of sprinkles here. It could be good.
Yeah, I'll take some sprinkles.
I like it.
Put a little sprinkles on this cupcake. I'm in. Let's make this delicious.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the Bucks coaching staff?
I think they're going to put in work, and I'm excited.
Okay. I'm going to end the show with this, and it's a little bit, I don't want to say heavy, but I feel that it's important. So I said this to Jake on Sunday. Sunday was the third game of the A's series.
Yep.
And this is what I said was when I was talking about going from the crybabies to the what can improve segments is I get being frustrated, but just can we be constructive?
Yeah.
Can we be, somewhat growth minded from our place of frustration? And that's how I want to handle not only looking at sports things, but same with life. Because when you're looking at life, if you take 5 losses in a row, You're not going to be getting into a position where you start off your next endeavor and it's going well for you, and then you self-sabotage it by thinking about, oh, great, I've lost the last 5 times. What am I going to do to lose this time?
Mm-hmm.
That's a situation where you're negatively impacting your life strictly based on the mindset that you're choosing to approach things with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm asking, is just think of it as from the perspective of life, but also from sports fandom, because that's what we are trying to do. Trying to relate these feelings of how we feel about our favorite teams to life in ways that make sense and can correlate, I'm not saying that, Jake and I are the perfect role models for it, but we're trying to help people learn lessons.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to learn them ourselves. And like I said, what I mentioned before, that Jake said he feels differently of how he had felt in the past because of the way that we've approached this.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been pretty vocal on this too, but I really believe that we are the only sports show that is doing this. There's plenty of personal development and self-help podcasts and books and tons of stuff like that. And I've taken in a lot of that stuff to try to relate it. But as far as a sports analysis show like ours goes, I don't think anybody else is doing it how we are.
I agree.
So tell your friends if you like Wisconsin sports teams.
And invite them and tell them to join the discussion.
Yes.
Also, Isaac, yes, I do. I think he realizes that he's close to the end. 3-year deal, 10, 11 a year. Call it a day.
I think he's going to do 2.
I think he is already 35. So
I think Brooke Lopez is going to be back on like a 2 for 30.
Yeah, I agree. He made what, 13 last year?
Yes.
So
he was on a 4 for 52. So
yeah, so paying him $15 million, I think he's completely happy with that. He likes the organization.
Give him a raise for being a defensive player of the year candidate.
Yep. I absolutely think that he'll be back. I think Chris Middleton will be back. Yep. Unless something absolutely nuts happens, which, like I said before, sports are crazy, man. Let's ride the wave, and not like a psychopath.
Right. Don't let it hurt your mental health to do so.
Please.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see you next week, and we'll be back with some bonus content coming up later this month. Yes, we will be at Mill Street Day, July 8th in Plymouth. So if you are in the Wisconsin area and you feel like coming to Plymouth on July 8th, Jake and I will have a tent set up at Mill Street Day, as will Wisco Ball and Mental Health America. So come see all of us at Mill Street Day on July 8th. And other than that, we're going to have some more bonus shows coming up in July, and some Packers shows in July, and then a live show in August. And then it's football season.
Hell yeah.
So we're getting close. But as Jake said today, dog days of summer start today, but we will be back next Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Isaac.